Hey folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics in the shed, gearing up for a session tomorrow morning. I'm super stoked because I've managed to get my hands on a few of these. These are after samples of the ZMan 2.5 inch prawns. They have now arrived in the country and they're on their way to stores, but I literally only have a handful from the trade show, and in the morning we're going to get out there and we're going to put this ZMan 2.5 inch prawns to the test. Fish on. Alright folks, we've got the last of a run in on a low high. We've got our 2.5 inch prawns rigged up on a few HeadlockZ Finesse Jigheads. It's a bit of an overcast sort of morning, so I'm going to start off nice and bright with a sexy penny colour and give that a go. Got a breeze blowing from behind us, a bit of Procure saltwater yabby nipper on there because that's kind of what I'm representing. Breeze behind us, which is going to help with some long, oh, that looked good in the water straight up. Nice dart and glide, looks very prawny. Alright, so first time fishing the finished product of these guys. We did a lot of R&D, changed up the body shape, lots of swim testing and that to get them right, and yeah, they look absolutely beautiful. So press the go button and there are now a bunch of colours. I reckon it's going to be a deadly little plastic river estuary, fresh everywhere, you know, everything eats a prawn, so that's what we're representing here today. It's only a low high that I'm fishing today, so it's getting up to I think about a 0.7 up to maybe a 1.5 something, so not real high in the tide. Not a lot of runs, so I'm not fishing real heavy. I've got a 1/8 number 10 jighead on here. This plastic would rig beautiful on a 2-1-10, I reckon. You could sneak a bigger hook in there if you wanted, but yeah, 2-1-10. Beautiful. It's going to be excellent for the bream tournament guys. But yeah, just as much fun for social shows to get out there and smack a few. Probably one of my least favourite tides to fish when it's a really low high like this, but you know, you take the opportunities you get. So we're out here for a quick couple of hours this morning. Hopefully we can find a couple of different species on the prawns and I'll be happy. This plastic is also going to rig amazing on a bunch of different jigheads. It's going to be brilliant on a hidden weight. It's going to be awesome on a HeadlockZ EWG weedless. If I do find some heavy weed, I'll switch it up to that HeadlockZ EWG or a HeadlockZ Finesse. Yeah, it's going to rig brilliant hidden weight, Ned, weedless, yeah, and on a standard jighead. So it's going to be a very versatile option for people. Might be a bit of a secret weapon, especially rigged weedless and fished in the structure where you find those prawns. Alright, a dozen casts with that guy, and I'm going to change it up. That sun's dead set broken through. We've got run-in tide, so the water's actually pretty clear. So I'm going to go the opening night. This is one of my favourite colours in the rivers and estuaries when the water's pretty clear. Real nice looking naturally prawn sort of colour as well. So I reckon this should get eaten. We'll just work it in around the weed, hop it in around some structure, see if we can get a bite. The dead set looks the part, that opening night colour. Will be a bit of bottom. Yep, there we go. Oh, that hit that really nicely. It's just seen a prawn kicking along, kicking along. Look at this nice prawn. Boom, nailed it. And that is my first fish on the 2.5-inch ZMan prawns, and it's not a bad brimbo. Not a bad brim to kick off things. Oh, look at that, he smashed it. No doubt he was convinced that was a prawn. That was that change up to that opening night colour, the more natural, clearer colour. Pretty solid little brim. And he's nailed that little 2.5-inch prawn, so I'm stoked. Thought I had a little rattle, and then fish on, he smashed it. That's cool. First fish. Love catching my first fish on a new Platy, so hopefully you guys are doing the same soon. That opening night colour, nice in the clear water straight up. Always the trickiest one to catch is to get that first one on the board with a new Platy, but yeah, he ate that beautifully, so I've got no doubt that other fish will eat that just as aggressively. Whoa! Something cheeky just followed it right in there. Yep, fish on. There we go. Alrighty, we just got that brimbo. Our first fish. This feels like it might be another brimbo, so that's a good sign. Yep, another brim. So brim eat these prawns no problemo, which we love to see, and he scoffed that as well. He's convinced that's a prawn. This is brilliant. Imagine when the prawns are on. Like at the moment the prawns are not on. When the prawns are on, these things are just going to be out of control. I know it. That's not for you, buddy. You gotta go catch your own, lazy bugger. No, that's a prawn. Even he thinks it's real. So that was pretty cool. Another brim in quick time. Not big brim, but we're just, you know, up on a random flutter on a dodgy tide. So pretty stoked to get 2 brim nice and quick on that prawn. And both of them had eaten it really well. So that's cool. Yeah, when it's full prawn season, when the prawns are going off in the rivers, this thing is going to produce. The guys, the pro team guys that tested the product through the R&D process, caught all sorts of species on this thing. And you know, in the rivers, imagine when the prawns are on, it's going to be brim, grunter, flathead, trevally, tailor, mulloway, snapper. Everything's going to eat this little prawn. Just looks beautiful in the water, has that natural kick and glide of a prawn, which is cool. Bit of weed there. So it definitely looks the part, and it's that 10 times tough elastic, so it's super soft, feels real. I'll just keep biting it, and it, you know, you get to catch a bunch of fish on a single plastic, which is cool. Oh, a little brimbo, and I've ripped it away from him. Gotta let him eat it. It's nice and soft, feels real, looks real, let him eat it. Got scent on it, so it tastes real. Don't rip it away from him. Yep, there we go. He ate that time. Hit that pretty hard too. I ripped it away from him the first time. Oh, that's a decent brim. And have a look how far down in his gob. Oh no, he's out the side there. Pinned securely though. Nailed that prawn. Oh, come here, buddy. Yeah, he's got that in there nicely. There you go. Just a handful of brim, but pretty cool. 3 brim. I reckon you brim tournament guys are going to love this. Little ZMan 2.5-inch prawns. Go back to where we got that bite. Yep. that's awesome. Man, they eat this prawn well. Very cool. They're not mucking around. What's that little Trev? Or another Brembo. Another Brembo. They're not mucking around, these guys. Like they're seeing a prawn and they're eating a prawn. They love prawns, especially here. I'm up on top of the weed. Only a little tacker, but he's nailed it. So that's bream number 4. Yeah, up on top of the weed, just twitching this plastic over the weed. And those bream, they're not even hesitating. They're like, that is a prawn. I'm on that. And they're smashing it. So that's brilliant. Exciting. That's that opening night colour, just because we're on the top of the tide and that water's pretty clear. It's a really nice natural bait fish, natural prawn sort of colour, that translucent colour with that little bit of fleck in it, which is brilliant. It's always been one of my favourite colours when the water's clear. Chasing flatties on a 3-inch minnows and that sort of thing. It's just that real nice translucent-y sort of colour that looks very natural in the water, and then it's got a fleck in it, which gives you that bit of scale flash, natural scale flash and that sort of thing. I've definitely been getting the bites this morning. A little bit of sun there to fire up that fleck. Oh, what happened there? Dead set just put the rod down to turn with the paddle and something ate it. just a pike. Nah, it's as well. How's that? He's just eating that, doing nothing with that prawn. Brilliant. ZMan 2.5-inch prawns. Fun times. Fun times on the flats. ZMan 2.5-inch prawn comes in a stack of colours as well, so definitely something there for all you guys. Clean water, dirty water, fresh water, whatever you're fishing. There's 15 colours because we love the profile so much. We redesigned the body a little bit to give the body a little more bulk towards the head, so it holds the jig head beautifully, but it tapers to the tail, so you get that really nice kick. But with 15 colours in the range, there's going to be something for everyone, that's for sure. Lots of your favourites in there, and then a couple of odd ones just to change it up a bit. Some nice ones for the guys up north too. I think this little prawn, like, man, everything eats a prawn, and I reckon in those drains, just in the mouths of those snake drains, and any timber on the flats and all that sort of thing where prawns would be holding, they're going to eat this. Jacks are going to be all over it. Barra are going to eat it. Granta, oh, what are you doing over there flicking? Go there instead. Yeah, Jacks, Barra, Granta, Trevs, Flatties, everything's going to eat this thing. Oh, there's a bream slurping. We'll bring our prawn across so it runs right through. He's trying to eat a prawn. Eat this prawn. Yep. Oh, he's on it. He's on it. He's on it. Yep. Eat it. Are you tiny? Eat the prawn. Oh. So what I'm doing here, I'm just drifting a big flat, but I'm basically flicking to a few different things. I'm flicking to bait. If I see bait flick, I flick to the bait. If I hear bream eating a prawn or a little bait fish or something, I flick straight into that. If I'm not seeing bait or fish slurping, I'm looking for water movement and changes in the water. It's almost stopped now because the tide's almost stopped. But water, like different looking movement on the surface, like a little eddy or ripple or smooth section or whatever, can signify it's just eating that on the drop. Oh, it was a flatfish and he jumped out of the water and spat it out. Oh, that's wild. Yeah, so what I was saying, I'm casting to bait, I'm casting to fish feeding, but otherwise I'm either fanning cast if there's nothing, or I'm looking for structure. So you might not be able to see the structure, but you can see how the structure affects the water movement. So eddies, flat spots, ripply spots can be the edge of weed and other structure that can hold fish. Otherwise, if there's no structure, I'm just fanning my casts. If I can see the bottom, I can see the bottom a bit here. Sometimes I'll see colour changes as well, so I'll see where it goes from light to dark, which can signify like a weed edge, or a light section can be a pocket in amongst the weed and that sort of thing. So just, yeah, keep your eyes and your ears peeled while you're flicking across the flats. It'll definitely, you know, I reckon it'll probably double or add a third to your catch by paying attention to what's going on with the water and also with the fish that are feeding and moving around you and the bait. Oh, that's a flatfish. That's a flatfish. Oh, he's cranky too. Don't bite me off, buddy. I've only got a handful of prawns. Get in the net. There you go. That's all good. He has scoffed it. Have a look at that. That prawn is nowhere to be seen. He liked the look of that. It's amazing how well they're eating this thing. Like, that's, I think that's a standout for me this morning. You know, just a quick little session on the flats, but these guys are eating this without hesitation. I've had a bunch of them eat it just on the fall. Alright, we got him. I need a little tacker, but I've got to get my prawn back. Yeah, we've had a bunch of fish just drill it on the drop, or when it's sitting on the bottom and I'm messing around. And I think that's to do with that realism of this plastic. So yeah, he has scoffed it. There we go, just a little fella. But another victim of that 2.5 inch ZMan prawns. See you later, buddy. Leader is chewed, so we'll fix our leader and we'll get back into it. Oh yep, there we go. Straight back into it. Just release that little flatty, and now we're got what feels like a brimbo. Not big brim I'm catching on this flat, but those of you that are in big brim country are probably looking at this little prawn like me and going, that's going to be dynamite. These guys are picking it up, no problem, eating it. He's on that little tacker. What you may have noticed, how I'm fishing this thing now, as I've got more confident with it, I know the fish are going to eat it, looks real, you know, it's working for me. I'm actually fishing it a little bit quicker. So I'm not spending as much time on the bottom with it, because I know there's brim here, I know they're feeding, I know they like to eat this plastic. So yeah, I'm probably covering a bit more water now, fishing a little bit quicker. But at the same time, it doesn't matter even if I, you know, put the rod down to pick up the paddle and then boom, a fish is eating it, because it does look realistic just sitting on the bottom as well. So I think you can pretty much fish it, you know, however you like, depending on in the environment you're fishing and the conditions that you're fishing and target species and that sort of thing. But you know, do nothing and it looks like a prawn. Twitch it and flick it aggressively and it looks like a prawn. So you know, fish are going to eat it whatever retrieve you use. So just a matter of experimenting a little bit. You know, they might want it dead sticked, they might want a really slow shake, they might want it hopped and then paused. So just mess around with the retrieve until you find what's working on the day. Always important to change it up until you find what's working. Like this morning, you know, we had a different colour on first up, and then that sun poked its head through a bit and I was like, nah, this water's pretty clear. I'm going to go away from go a little more natural with the presentation colour, and yeah, and the fish have loved that more natural presentation. Just a matter of mixing it up until you find what works. I'm loving this thing. Alright, so we've got a handful of brim already and a flatty, and launched another flatty out of the water. It'd be nice to get a, you know, a good flathead on it first trip out. It'd be cool. Or you know, maybe mix it up with another different type of species. But we're basically just waiting for the tide to turn now. The tide's pretty dead. The wind's pushing us across this flat on the high, which is a pretty rubbishy high. and we'll stick around for a little bit on the dropping tide and just see if we can get ourselves that nice flatty. Oh yep, there we go. The decider could be what the weather does, because it's some nasty looking clouds. Oh, hang on, here's a flatty. That's not a bream. That's Sherry's dinner. So you can see there, that wasn't on the bottom, that was just twitching, but because I'm only in half a metre of water, it doesn't really matter. So I was twitching that for a brimbo up off the bottom. Old mate flathead comes up and eats it. Beautiful. He's not bad, he's not a bad one. Caught around my jighead. So that's a 1/8 ounce 1/0, which fits that prawn very nicely. We've fattened up the body just towards the head section of this placky, so that it holds jig heads very nicely, and then you've still got that flick of that thinner tail, and the fish eat it no problem. So a bit of work gone into making it right. Oh, there we go. Oh, he's not a giant, but have a look at that. He's a pan sized flatty that scoffed that prawn flicked over the top of the weed. So yeah, pretty happy with that. That's cool. Been a pretty good little morning session on that hour or so I've run in. Basically started in a little area that I wanted to fish, and then I've just kept drifting. So I'm actually fishing water that I haven't fished before, but the fish keep eating the prawn, so I'll just keep drifting across the big flat and just see if we can find a few more. Yep, there we go, there's a fish. Brilliant. Oh, cranky. Oh, cranky. Oh, nice bream. That was a nice bream. Oh yeah, good fun. the brim have eaten this thing, that's for sure. They've loved it. Alright. He's not a bad one. Shallow water flats bream. You guys down south will be going, that thing's a key ring, and that's fair enough. You get some absolute monster black bream down there. He's away. And I'd love to see this in the mouths of a few of them as well. I reckon they'll love it. That's brilliant. So you can see there on this guy that slightly bulkier in the body to carry a jig head and keeper very well, and then that tail tapers rapidly, which gives it that tail flick and then the glide. Got a couple of antennae on the front there for added realism, and those side legs. So those side legs I reckon are brilliant because they help that plastic to parachute. So when you twitch it, there's no resistance, and then it helps the presentation to parachute and glide. So on a hidden weight around the pontoons, I reckon those legs are going to be absolute game changer. Give you that horizontal fall, that parachuting that holds the plastic up around the pontoon. And then I'm pretty sure some of you guys are going to trim those off and experiment with the plastic without those legs on there on a more aggressive twitch and shake and glide and that sort of thing, especially if you're wanting to fish deeper. You might knock them off as well. But it's a brilliant profile, and as you've seen today, like the brim are all over it straight away. We've got a couple of flatties. It's definitely going to be one that will catch a lot of fish and a lot of different species. All right, folks, thanks for joining me on that quick little session test driving that ZMan 2.5 inch prawns. So a pretty good little hour on the water, you know, maybe about 8 bream or so and a few flatties and that sort of thing. And the thing that impressed me most was that it's school holiday time, so it's busy on the water. It's a rubbish tide, you know, a 1.5 metre high, but this thing still got eaten and those fish ate it with absolute gusto. So that's the ZMan 2.5 inch prawns. Stay tuned for more videos on rigging this and fishing it in different ways. Love to see what you catch on this. Make sure if you get some fish on the 2.5 inch prawns, send us a photo through to ZMan Australia on Facebook. Get out there, get stuck on a few. All the best with the fishing. Cheers.